YouTube, this is Pastor Green. We're doing another Bible study. It's going to be Genesis chapter 29. You can always email me if you have any questions at godsohman@gmail.com. That's godsohman@gmail.com. Remember, this is going to be a YouTube Bible study, so make sure you subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell. Also, like and comment. By clicking the notification bell and subscribing, it's going to let you know whenever I post a new video. By liking and commenting, it's going to let YouTube know that I'm getting views, and so they're going to promote my channel more. Like I said, we're going to be doing Genesis 29, and you can actually buy this chart here from drdino.com, or if I come to your church or you know me personally, you can buy it from me for $5. So we're going to be talking about Jacob today. Genesis 29:1. Then Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east. And if you remember in the last chapter, Genesis 27, it says, "Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran." And you can see on this little family tree, Abraham's son Isaac married Rebekah, which is Laban's sister. And so Isaac's told Jacob to go see Laban and marry one of his daughters. Genesis 29:2. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of the well they were watering the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. So there was this big stone on top of the rock, so they couldn't water the sheep because of the stone. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and they watered the sheep, and they put the stone again upon the well's mouth in its place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence ye be? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, is it yet high day? Neither is it time, or the cattle should be gathered together. Gather ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, We cannot, until all the flocks be gathered together, and until they roll the stone from the well's mouth, then we water the sheep. So they're saying that, everybody has to be here at this well in order for us to feed and water our sheep. And I'm sure Jacob thought this was kind of weird. Have you ever heard of the Gordian knot? It was said that if you actually untie this knot, you get to be a ruler. There's actually an ox cart still stood in the palace of the former king of the Gordian in the 4th century BCE when Alexander the Great arrived. And at this point, they were reduced to a strap trap, or a province of the Persian Empire. And an oracle had declared that if any man could unravel this elaborate knot, he was destined to become the ruler of all of Asia. And rather than to try to untie the Gordian knot, Alexander the Great, he just took the knot and just cut it with a sword. But back to Genesis 29. And while they yet spake with them, Rachel came for their father's sheep, for she kept them. And when it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and he watered the flock of Laban his mother's brother. So he didn't wait for everybody to be there. He just said, I'm gonna do this myself. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son, and that she ran and told her father. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him, and he kissed him, and he brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And if you remember, Abraham sent his servant to go find a daughter for his son Isaac, and Laban was there with his sister Rebekah. And if you remember, the servant had all these jewels and cattle and all these fine things, and it almost makes me think that Laban remembered back then all the things that the guy had, and he probably thought, hey, this guy's pretty rich. I'm gonna strike it big here. So I'm gonna be nice to this guy as I can, so I can make some money. And Laban said unto him, Surely art thou my bone and my flesh? And he abode with him in the space of a month. So Jacob stayed with Laban for a whole month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brothers, shouldn't thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what should thy wages be? So apparently, he was working at this time for Laban, and Laban finally said, you shouldn't be working here for free, so what do you want for money? And Laban had two daughters. The name of the eldest was Leah, and the name of the youngest was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And a lot of people believe that maybe Leah was maybe not that attractive, and Leah was very attractive, and maybe that's what it meant by tender-eyed, but we don't really know what it really means. But that's some translations say blurry-eyed, but I'm pretty sure probably one was a little more attractive than the other one. And Jacob loved Rachel, and he said, "I will serve you for 7 years for Rachel, thy daughter, thy youngest daughter." Now, guys, can you imagine working 7 years to get your wife? That's a long time to get a wife, but Jacob loved Rachel so much he was willing to work 7 years to get her. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee than I shall give her to another man. Abide with me. So basically, Laban said, Well, it's better that I give it to you than somebody else, so I'm going to take your deal, and you work 7 years for me, and I'm going to let you have my daughter. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had for her. So he worked 7 years for this girl, and it seemed like it was just a couple of days went by. It was such a great experience because he loved Rachel so much he was happy to be with her. 7 years seemed like nothing to him. And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I might go unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and they made a great feast. And a lot of times in biblical times, when you had a marriage feast, it usually lasted for about a week, and there was food and drinking and all kind of stuff happened. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went unto her. And as you can see, he brought Leah his daughter, not Rachel. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for a handmaid. And when it came to pass at the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said unto Laban, What is this that thou hast done to me? Did I not serve thee for Rachel? Wherefore hast thou beguiled me? And what would happen is the woman would get all dressed up, and she'd have a veil on her face, and she'd go into the tent, and they'd basically consummate the marriage. And that's how people got married, back then. So he didn't know it was Leah. He thought it was Rachel. And when he woke up the next morning, it was Leah. And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and I will give thee also for the service which thou hast served me another 7 years. So he's saying, you married her. You're supposed to, basically be intimate with her for a whole week so she can get pregnant. You go ahead and do that, and we'll work out a deal for Rachel. And Jacob did so, and he fulfilled his week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also, and Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went also to Rachel. He loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet another 7 years. So this guy now has worked 14 years to get Rachel. Now, guys, can you imagine working 14 years to get to marry your wife? That's a long time. But he loved Rachel so much, he was willing to go another 7 years. So now after 14 years, he's married to Leah and Rachel. So now he has two wives. Now, sometimes it's difficult to understand your wife. Sometimes you guys have disagreements, and sometimes it's difficult. But now he has two women that he has to try to figure out and understand them. But not only that, these girls are their best friends and sisters, so it makes it even harder. And then when the Lord saw that Rachel was hated, that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. So they consummated their marriage, but Leah seemed, because he loved Rachel more, Leah kind of was ignored. And so God said, I don't want Leah to be ignored. So he opened up her womb, but Rachel was still barren. So they both were barren originally, but God opened up Leah's womb. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, Surely the Lord has looked upon my affliction, and now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, Because the Lord heard that I was hated, he therefore given me a son also, and she named him Simeon. And she conceived again and bore a son, And she said, now this time my husband will be joined to me because we have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name was called Levi. And, basically back then, really the woman's sole purpose in life was to have kids. So if you're barren, you kind of feel like, you're less than. So now she's already given Jacob 3 sons now. So in the eyes of Jacob, she's going to be the better wife because she's given him sons and Rachel has not. And then she conceived again and bore a son. And she said, now I will praise the Lord. Therefore I shall call his name Judah. And she was left barren. So after she had 4 sons, now she's barren again. Well, again, guys, I appreciate you guys checking out my YouTube Bible study. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and click the bell. Also, like and comment. And if you guys don't have something to comment, just say thank you, good job. Can't wait for the next one. Say something. That way I get the comment, and that way YouTube will promote my videos. And again, I appreciate you guys watching. I hope I'll see you next time. Have a great day.